This episode is brought to you by Meow Wolf. It's a great week to be a grown-up at Meow Wolf Denver. Enter the Adultiverse starting at 5 p.m. on Wednesday, November 20th to explore the multiverse, drink in hand. And don't miss Bedtime Stories, Meow Wolf's neo-burlesque variety show featuring outrageous performances guaranteed to raise smiles, eyebrows, and pulses on Thursday, November 21st. Find out more about these and other cosmically cool events at meowwolf.com. That's meowwolf.com. This episode is brought to you by Pine Melon. As Thanksgiving approaches, let Pine Melon take the stress out of your holiday planning. Pine Melon delivers high-quality meats, fresh produce, baked goods, pantry staples, and more straight to your door. No subscriptions required, just same-day delivery in a 2-hour window within Denver and Boulder. Go to pinemelon.com and place your order today. And to make your Thanksgiving even sweeter, use code CityCastDenver for $35 off your first order of $75 or more. Support local farmers and makers and save time this holiday season with Pine Melon. Today on CityCast Denver, what happens if the Colorado CEO who drank fracking fluid on camera becomes part of the Trump administration? And will the unofficial Wu-Tang Memorial Gravel Pit become a pickleball empire on Colfax? We're talking about these stories and more with two of our favorite returning guests. Today is Friday, November 22nd. I'm Bree Davies, and here's what Denver's talking about. Welcome back to CityCast Denver, the show about the city where instead of creating safer streets, our governor wants to build a pedestrian bridge over the busy streets. I don't know if you guys heard about this. Did you see this?
The safest street of them all.
Broadway and Lincoln, and just in time for Colorado's 150th birthday in 2026, the Denver Post reports that the state is paying $1.5 million for the concept, design, engagement process, and construction bidding process of a potential bridge over Broadway and Lincoln. Joshua, are you a fan of pedestrian bridges?
I'm a big fan of pedestrian bridges, mostly because I like when people stay alive. You know what I mean?
I do. Okay, that's not my argument here. My argument is why can't we just make the street safer at a street level than spending all this money to build something that feels like it's just going to be a trophy for someone's legacy? You know what I'm saying?
That's fair. But there's something about game theory where it's like you want to make it as easy as possible for people to not, die, right?
Fair. Noelle, what do you think about this?
I can live with a pedestrian bridge.
You can?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
I know I'm being a little bit of a curmudgeon, but also I'm just thinking about this is going to require an elevator for folks with disabilities. We all know elevators don't have the longest shelf life. I don't know. It feels a little counter to trying to make us a safer city first, you know what I mean, for pedestrians, but I could just be being nitpicky. This is my hill to die on. Okay, well, it's Friday. We're at the 5280 Magazine studios. You have heard both of their voices already today. Our regular comedian, our man inside Casa Bonita, in the midst of making a documentary, Joshua Emerson, welcome back.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm very, very attractive and successcul, and I'm happy to be back. Newly engaged, yeah, that happened a couple of days ago, and then
congrats.
Casa votes on the vote tomorrow.
The union vote tomorrow.
So by the time the listeners are hearing it, I'll be voting on whether or not
you could be a unionized, engaged comedian.
I know.
Incredible.
Insurance? What is insurance?
What is insurance? Maybe we'll find out for you. Also, she's an award-winning journalist, a reporter at the Denver Post, someone I most recently threw candy from the Broadway parade with, Noelle Phillips. Hello again.
Yeah, that was a fun Halloween parade, wasn't it?
It was a really fun Halloween parade. We got to be the stars for
We were the
moment.
heroes because we had the Reese's Cups, right?
Yes, but I learned that you can't chuck the candy. You have to kind of underhand it so you don't hit children in the face with candy, which we weren't meaning to do. And also I got a little shamed for throwing too much candy too early.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. You were generous with the candy tossing.
It's a long parade. All right.
Yes. Okay. So our top story today is a Colorado CEO of Liberty Energy has been nominated by Trump to lead the Department of Energy. We're going to get into how weird this guy is in a minute. But Noelle, you reported on this potential appointment. Can you tell us a little bit about who Chris Wright of Liberty Energy is?
Yeah, sure. And I need to shout out my colleague, Elise Schmelzer, because we tag teamed this one together. In our structure in the newsroom, we both cover the environment, but she does water and if there's enough and is it clean, and then wildlife and animals. I call myself the airhead because I do the air pollution and air quality.
And these things intersect often.
Yes, they do. Anyway, Chris Wright, he's a Colorado native, grew up here. He went to MIT to undergrad and then UC Berkeley. And he is a huge cheerleader for fracking and fossil fuels and hydrocarbons. And he has a very successful company that's considered a competitor with Halliburton for oil field services. So they do not.
That was good context to know how big this company really is.
Yeah. So they're not considered an oil and gas operator. So they don't like technically own the permit to pull it out of the ground and then sell it into the system of people that need gas and diesel and all that stuff. But they do oil field services. So they provide the machinery and the logistics and like everything but.
Interesting.
Yes.
$3 billion like market cap, I think, in terms of this company. Yeah, very big.
It was wild because I had actually never heard of them prior to this, but the Halliburton context and that dollar value, I was like, how have I not?
Yeah, any energy company named Liberty is terrifying.
Little sus, for sure. It's like Patriot. I'm all, I don't know about that. But Joshua, we were talking about this earlier. For additional context, this man is notable for drinking fracking fluid on camera in 2019 to demonstrate its alleged safety.
Not only did he drink it, he made all of his like subordinates drink it with him. All right.
Did you watch this video, Noelle?
Oh yeah, I've seen the video.
Yeah, like he's like, okay, guys, let's do some shots, and everybody's like, it was like a The Office moment where you can see them in their faces, like, I guess I have to do this because this is my boss.
I think they should have used a shot ski.
That would have been so much more on brand for Colorado, for sure.
To your health and to the longer lives and healthier lives of billions of people around the world from oil and gas.
Cheers.
Cheers. Cheers.
How did that sit with you watching somebody do that?
It really gave me Jonestown vibes, if I'm being honest.
That's what I said.
Yeah, because one, they made up the fracking liquid like in a blender without a lid. That made me really anxious.
Yes,
and then,
it's like a little tornado happening. It was like watching an infomercial for fracking fluid.
Yeah, he was like wearing like a cooking smock, like on the front. I'm like, why are you trying to be cutesy with this? The camera was awful. It was like 1080 AP. Like, spring for the 4K if you're gonna do your propaganda video on like drinking fracking. And then like when they all come on, there's like 8 people coming on. Like the only woman in like the group, the biggest smile because she knows how stupid this video is, and you could just tell it's just like, I have to do this. I love my kids. You know what I mean? I want them to have a Christmas. Like,
there was some white man nonsense happening here. I felt like where I was like, a white man can do this ridiculousness.
Yeah.
The rest of us maybe wouldn't be taken so seriously if that's how we would call it, but it just felt a little white nonsensey to me.
The first ingredient he mentioned is bleach. Is like, you're just gonna drink bleach? Like, all right.
Which is what a lot of other outlets picked up about this was "man drinks bleach" was the headline I saw when I Googled it. So Noelle, you reported that, quote, Wright has acknowledged climate change is real. So this is the other aspect of this issue, is the climate change conversation, but said in a video that he made last year that there is, quote, no climate crisis. You report regularly on oil and gas, like you said, in Colorado. What did you make of that part of the statement?
Yeah, he, if you've watched many of his videos, it's like a cross between a televangelist and a TED Talk about fossil fuels and hydrocarbons and human advancement and human opportunity and success. And like, he'll say solar and wind power can't exist without fossil fuels because you got to make the solar panels and the blades for the wind turbines. And so,
oh no, we have to do that.
Yeah. And he's like a, nice looking guy, polished, like it's very engaging to watch. And he always says in his speeches that climate change is real, but it's just not the crisis that we all think it is. And I had watched another video yesterday in preparation for this, and he spoke to the American Legislative Exchange Council, I believe it was last month, and he says, it's a real thing, but it's actually sort of a slow-moving, in our lifetimes, relatively modest phenomenon that's been wildly abused for political reasons, but it's an enormous as far as human lives and human opportunity. That's a classic Chris Wright quote.
It feels like it speaks to this, like, I know it's bad, but it's not that bad. And also somebody has a lot of skin in this game because this is his company
Sure.
he's running. But I think the televangelist picture and TED Talk-y type of person is a good way to describe this guy. It's also got a little prosperity gospel stuff going on. Do you think that that's part of what maybe made him attractive as a cabinet potential appointee?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he'll look good and sound really good.
He can talk.
Yeah. Yeah. And on camera. And his policies will be favorable to the oil and gas industry. And now, in Colorado, we all know that we are listed as severe non-attainment on federal ambient air quality standards. And
Can you explain what that means to us, like a person in Colorado every day?
yeah, so the EPA has guidelines, and it's under the Clean Air Act, of how much greenhouse gas and these sorts of emissions are in our air. And it's why in the summer, like in August, our air always looks brown and you can see like the brown haze. That's why that's severe non-attainment looks like. And it's caused by oil and gas drilling, the millions of cars that run up and down our roads along the Front Range every day. Buildings like the one we're sitting in also leak emissions. And so the state has been doing like all of these things to try to get us in line to achieve these goals for our emissions and lower. It's like, it's really complicated. I probably shouldn't like pain your readers' brains with these like federal rules because it can be really stupid and confusing. But we are not there. We're not on track to get there. And even this week, the governor rolled out his big Transportation Vision 2035 to address the cars on the road and transportation. That could be a whole nother episode of CityCast. But anyway, this is all because of fossil fuels. That's why we have this problem here.
Oh my gosh.
It's also one of the bigger industries too here in the state, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a big employer. I
Oil and
think.
gas, yeah, absolutely.
So I think that's part of this equation too, is like, is there a way that this could go well for Colorado in some sense, that like we have this person who's a spokesperson for one of our biggest industries now in this, potentially in this bigger position of power and visibility?
Yeah, the oil and gas industry here is excited because the Biden administration have put a pause on liquefied natural gas exports to study greenhouse gas emissions from those. And it's likely that the Trump administration and Chris Wright will end this. Some people call it a ban. They call it a pause. Either way, it'll go away. And Colorado has plenty of this stuff to sell. And so people here there'll be jobs related to that. And the oil and gas companies will make a lot of money. So, that's a positive for a lot of people.
It shows the complexity of this, I think, though. It's
Correct.
Like, obviously, we're talking about climate change and these major factors that this industry has on our lives, but also the other side of our lives is the economic driver.
Right.
Component of it.
The environmentalists in Colorado, their reaction to this, there were some really good zingers.
Yes.
Like one told me, like when he says climate change isn't a crisis, they're like, tell that to the 1,000 or so people who lost their homes in the Marshall Fire. And then Aaron Weiss at the Center for Western Priorities gave Elise Schmelzer a zinger. I can only assume his favorite place in Colorado is the Great Sand Dunes because that's the only pile of sand big enough to bury his head in.
I love that line. When I saw that, I
So
was like,
local.
Yeah, I know. It was a very Colorado zinger.
Yeah, it's hyper local. Joshua, what do you think about the economics of this conversation?
I mean, there's Coloradans that are happy about this, and I'm not really that mad about it because I sort of understand it's your job. You're gonna be able to make more money because of it. In the grand scheme of things, like as like an American overall, I think it's bad. I mean, deregulation, like, leads to the increased chance of fracking poisoning the water and doing blighting the landscape. Like the more you do it, the more likely it is you're gonna have an accident that has serious repercussions and then you can't come back from. Also, it's the hottest it's been in 100,000 years. Every decade has been hotter than the last one over these past 4 decades. It's clear that climate change is coming and you'll see it with increased hurricanes and gnarlier winters and And there is an aspect of it that we are going to have to just adjust to that. This is going to speed up the process, and we don't know what the future looks like. And sort of like in 2050, like how much am I investing into like making a fortress? You know what I mean? Because of the decisions we're making now.
If you can afford to do it, I think
It's
that's
true.
the part I
Yeah.
think about a lot with these situations, the climate refugee situation, the fact that folks are not able to continue to live where they have maybe grown up or want to live because it's unsafe for them, and who has the money to escape or build the fortress, right? There was a company report that was quoted by the Denver Post with Wright saying, quote, "Climate change is real and a global challenge that we should and can address. However, representing it as the most urgent threat to humanity today displaces concerns about more pressing threats of malnutrition, access to clean water, air pollution, endemic diseases, and human rights, among others." Isn't that due to climate change?
A lot of it, yeah.
Yes.
That quote to me was just like, this is the mind meld of this problem. Is he's very good at saying things, but you have to look at what did you think he was saying there, Noelle?
Fossil fuels are good.
Yeah. There you go. Too long didn't read version. Fossil fuels are good. No, I agree. I think that was the weirdest part to me, is I was just like, but you're saying all these things that are due to climate change, and that's what we're talking about. But it's not climate change.
Yeah, he's gonna be very pretty with his words, and his actions are all going to increase the amount of carbon emissions. And so that's just sort of where we're gonna go through.
Yeah, one thing they are known for is their fracking fleet. All their equipment, they are moving off of diesel fuel to like natural gas and electric powered to reduce emissions from the machinery that fracks.
I thought that was such an interesting component of this.
Colorado is kind of at the forefront of other states of forcing oil and gas drillers to do this sort of thing. So, here he is. And like one of his arguments is, well, if we drill in the United States, we have better regulation, so it's not as dirty as drilling somewhere else, or sending electricity intensive manufacturing to China where they will power it from coal. It's cleaner to do it here, so we might as well go ahead and do this.
It's such a wild proposition. Like, we use clean energy to make dirty energy.
Yeah.
Like, it's part of this, like, how you couch it, his delivery, his ability to just say things. And again, this goes back to why this person maybe was the perfect potential appointment for this position.
It's clear that he's a smart dude, right? MIT
Right.
and Cal Berkeley. I mean, I didn't go there.
It's true. Yeah, and his companies are up in terms of the stocks, both Liberty and he's on the board of a nuclear energy company. Both of those are up in the market right now. So.
Oh my gosh. Well, we'll be watching this story as it continues to develop. Another weird twist for Colorado's role in Trump's upcoming presidency.
This episode is brought to you by Warren Village. Warren Village provides supportive housing with a preference for single-parent families experiencing housing instability. Their program model supports the growth of both parent and child, with on-site childcare for children and supportive services for parents like education, workforce skills, mental health support, parenting and financial education, and more. Celebrating 50 years this year, Warren Village will be opening their newest campus, Warren Village at Alameda, very soon. This new Warren Village campus is right by my house. I've been watching them build it. It's kind of awesome. This Southwest Denver campus will serve 89 families in the community. Warren Village serves 600 individuals across all locations, with 85% of folks identifying as BIPOC, and a majority are single mothers with one child under the age of 5. Learn how to get involved or make a donation today at warrenvillage.org. That's warrenvillage.org. This episode is brought to you by Unit E. Unit E is an award-winning underground record label based in Denver that specializes in showcasing the best music the Mile High City has to offer. By joining the Unit E 7-inch record club, you will be in the know about Denver's hottest artists, like Los Mocochetes, the band you hear at the opening of this very podcast every episode. The Mocochetes are just one of many acts you'll get new music from when you subscribe. So how does the Unit E 7-inch record club work anyway? Well, it's simple. Sign up now, and for just $39 a year, you get 4 7-inch records, one each season, sent right to your doorstep. This means you get to add new music to your record collection while supporting local artists directly. Join the Unit E 7-inch record club today. Just go to unitedenver.org to sign up. That's UNITE Denver.org. Oh, and if you use the code CityCast at checkout, you get an additional record for free. Happy listening.
All right. Well, let's move on to our next topic. A little less serious. Still bizarre to me. We're talking about pickleball at Colfax and Broadway, of all places. So there's this gravel pit on the corner of Colfax and Broadway that's part of land leased by RTD. It's also where the Civic Center bus station is. But the bus station itself is just part of this land. The rest of it is this big pit. And Denverite actually named it the Wu-Tang Commemorative Gravel Pit back in 2019 after the Wu's seminal 2000 mildly charting hit Gravel Pit. And while I'd love for this discussion to be about how I think Wu-Tang is the Grateful Dead for millennials, that's another story. We're actually talking about the future of this pit. So the city has proposed 6 pickleball courts to go into this major transit and pedestrian corridor. Joshua, are you a pickleball guy?
Oh, I hate pickleball.
Okay.
I'm not that mad about the pickleball courts going in there because I've ever since I've lived there, that gravel pit has been nothing but.
It's unused, underutilized land.
And they won't allow like a curb like cutout, which means you can't make you can't turn in there for parking lots. So it's been like really hard to develop anything there. I'm skeptical that it'll get used, but pickleball's hot right now. Maybe is it going to be business people? And
that's what I'm trying to
government
figure out.
Employees. Cap Hill's not going to use the pickleball course.
Who's going
it's
to
too
walk
far
all
away.
the way down there?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Bizarre.
Yeah, but one of the biggest things about pickleball, which makes people the most annoyed, why they usually do it inside, is how loud pickleball can be, and that's not going to be a problem here. It's so loud on Broadway and Colfax right there that they'll be fine.
That's what I wanted to ask you about, Noelle, because I think we were talking about this, like the noise component.
Yeah, that's what
pickleball.
gets everybody so mad is the noise. The name of the park has slipped my mind, but it's near the Botanic Gardens. You know what I'm talking about? Over off of 8th.
Congress Park? I can't remember where.
It may be Congress Park. The
It was one that's like
pickleballers-
in a very dense.
Yeah, and
neighborhood.
like nice houses.
Yes.
And the pickleballers took over, and the neighborhood was so angry about it because they played from sun up to sundown, and there was a lot of cars parked, and it was one of those classic, like, that's my park, not yours, fights. But the noise was like, nobody's going to complain about noise on Colfax and Broad. Like, go ahead. But your point about who's going to play, like, are we going to drive our cars
And park where?
and park in a $20 Laz parking garage to play around a pickleball? But also, it's a drainage area
Right.
and a
Yeah.
retention pond. So
That's part of the plan is
like
to sort of revamp.
where are we going to send that water if we put pickleball courts down?
I think that rendering has like still an area that's the retention pond included, but I still, to me, I'm just like, this is just not computing. Like, this is a major transit corridor. My thought was like, why not? I mean, I know why not. Public restrooms. Like, why not some sort of, I don't know, area to, I mean, the Mayor's Chief of Staff, Evan Dreyer, said the courts will last a whole 3 to 5 years, which is interesting. It seems like a temporary fix, but they had considered options like a food truck court, urban garden, basketball, tennis, cycle track, and a skate park. Even a skate park would make more sense to me there. But they said pickleball rose to the top. And I was like, for who?
Yeah, for the one person that was really excited about it.
Who are you surveying?
Oh, the pickleballers, they're really active and vocal, though.
But are they going to come to, like you said, are they going to pay $20 to park in a lot to go to this area of town that a lot of folks don't like?
There's a
to be honest with
YMCA
you.
over there, you know?
True.
And there are like, now that people are going back to work in downtown, you might have, there's like people that like will run on their lunch break. I don't know if they're going to go down and play pickleball on their lunch break. They might.
I think that must be who they're thinking they're targeting, though, because I see this as like a part of this bigger plan to revitalize downtown, right? And maybe it's create this amenity for people downtown.
Yeah, I can see commuters on the light rail with their pickleball rackets in their backpacks to play a little lunchtime or post-work
But at
game.
night, you know, like there'll be a moment where it's just like for most of that time it's going to be empty. Like
I have a feeling they're going to have a curfew or a time frame on it, especially for that location.
Also, listeners will know like that part. I mean, those bus stops right there, right in front of the Capitol, are some of the most interesting bus people in Denver.
Diverse clientele.
100%. Yeah.
But a lot of folks that's what I'm thinking about, is just folks riding the bus. If I got off the bus, I'd want a food truck court seems to make more sense to me. Or again, public restrooms, somewhere to sit and hang out. But I know that's like the opposite of what the city wants to do, is create a place for people to hang out.
Yeah. I do like their food truck thing, but it's only for lunch,
Right. The Civic Center Eats, right.
Exactly. But yeah, God forbid we feed our residents past 10 p.m. in Denver, so.
That's a whole other show.
Yeah, I know.
Or what if you're sitting in your car there and a wayward pickleball shot comes smashing into your windshield?
Man. The first time that happens,
Oh my God, I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
How high are the fencing? How high is the
Well, this is like a
fencing
dome.
gonna be?
You know what I mean?
I don't think pickleball shots go that awry because the court is like smaller.
Well, what do you guys think? Do you have any other ideas or what you think could go there, or what would be fun to go? Maybe just even a dream to go there.
Yeah.
Such a desirable piece of property.
No, I love urban gardens, and I think you can design something really cool where you can like incorporate murals and stuff
that would be
right
so
there.
nice.
But it costs a lot of money. But yeah, I think you could do a garden, and then you could also have it be like a cool drainage ditch. Maybe you do like Three Sisters. I mean, you could tell a lot of stories with plants. There,
I love that.
especially since you have like the colonizer statue like right across the way, and so just to like
do it like an open resistance piece that people can hang out in.
Right.
Also,
yeah.
I'm thinking there's the Elizabeth Street Gardens in New York City, which may be gone by now, but it was like a derelict, empty lot, and some people took it over and turned it into a garden for 30 years or something, and the city owns it. And unfortunately, it's a complicated situation because they're actually going to build affordable housing there, but they're tearing out a garden that had been there for 30 years.
Yeah.
And I never thought a garden would be really nice right there.
I think it would. There's so much concrete around there, so they
Places to sit and enjoy.
Yeah, they used to have a dog park just like up the street on Broadway that I used to love because I lived in Capitan, but like walk down to that dog park in particular. Yeah,
Dog park would make sense too.
Yeah.
I don't know. Noelle, what do you think?
I would be a big fan of public restrooms.
Yeah.
Because you get off the bus, you've had your morning coffee or whatever, and you just need to go. And there's a way to, like, I just get so irritated when I go to a park or something and the bathrooms are locked. And I know why they're locked, because they're afraid everybody's going to go in there and have sex and do drugs.
Right.
And we're all opposed to that. But there's a way to, like, make it clean and safe.
I agree.
And let people, because otherwise people are just going to continue to pee on the streets or in the alleys or in Civic Center Park or worse than pee. So just put some clean, nice, well lit, put some attendants in there to like clean.
Yeah, which they used to do with the temporary restrooms.
Let's just give people a place to for some relief.
For everyone. I mean, that would be a public service for everyone. Again, thinking about when you travel to another city and they have that amenity, you're like, whoa, they're really on top of it. They have a restroom.
Yeah, even like when I've like traveled in Europe, the public restrooms might require €1 to go in. You may or may not get it back. Like, okay, $0.25. You got to put $0.25 in there. That helps fund toilet paper. I don't know, but something. I just feel like that's like.
It just seems like the obvious to me.
Yeah.
And it's doable. It's very doable. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not, I think it's not easily sellable for some reason because some folks really don't like the idea of a public restroom, which is wild to me because everybody needs to use one. But I think it's like the quote element that it would attract, which is humans.
Like when you're traveling with kids, if you have to ride the bus, somebody's always got to pee, right? Like it'd be so convenient, like right there at that Civic Center transit station.
Well, I'm even thinking about, I did a tour of the new Central Branch Library downtown and they redid all their bathrooms and they have this gorgeous like area where everybody washes their hands in the same area. There's changing areas for changing diapers and then the restrooms themselves are separate. But like, why not something like that? It's possible. So
yeah, I think
we'll
so.
See.
Yeah, and you make it like a watering hole too, where you can have like hot dogs or something like food like right there.
It would be so awesome. Foods, a little seating area, maybe a little garden, a bathroom.
Yeah, make it pedestrian downtown.
But instead we're going to get pickleball courts that are probably locked. So good luck with that.
Yeah.
This episode is brought to you by Denver Health. Not sure if you need urgent care or the emergency room? Denver Health has you covered.
For non-life-threatening issues like cold symptoms, minor injuries, abdominal pain, and even stitches and x-rays, Denver Health's urgent care is your go-to choice. Just walk right in. No appointment is needed. With 4 convenient options including adult care, pediatric care, virtual visits, and a downtown location at 16th and California, Denver Health makes it easy to get the care you need when you need it. But remember, if you're facing a serious life-threatening condition, head to the emergency room right away. Urgent care is for those unexpected issues that need quick attention but aren't emergencies. Plus, Denver Health accepts most insurance plans. Check out Denver Health's amazing 5-star reviews on Google. Patients love Denver Health Urgent Care. Learn more at denverhealth.org/urgent care. That's denverhealth.org/urgent care. This episode is brought to you by Pine Melon. As the weather cools down, Pine Melon has everything you need to embrace fall. From peak season produce like apples, squash, and pears to seasonal decor like gourds and pumpkins, they've got you covered year-round. Pine Melon proudly partners with over 200 local farmers, ranchers, and producers across Colorado, delivering fresh, high-quality meats, baked goods, pantry staples, and more right to your door. No subscription needed. And that means you have access to same-day delivery in Denver and Boulder within a 2-hour window. Go to pinemelon.com to order locally sourced food today. Customers can use the code CityCastDenver at checkout for $35 off your first order of $75 or more. Join the movement today and support local makers and farmers at pinemelon.com. That's pinemelon.com.
And we are back with our final segment of today, wins and fails, Rocky Mountain highs and lows, things that sucked, things that ruled. We're going to start with fails so we can end on the good stuff. Joshua, what have you got?
Douglas schools, they delayed the AP African American class. 4-3 was the vote. They just want to make sure that nothing crazy is going in there. You know?
Oh my gosh!
You know,
God forbid we learn history in Douglas County.
Yeah, not like it's like already been like approved by a national organization that has to reach certain standards. We just got to make sure there's nothing crazy in the African American AP class. You know, so yeah, I thought that was just it's so silly. Like I don't understand. Like it's if people want to learn about African American studies, they should be able to do it in high school and get college credit for it. And it seems so silly to not, and it feels worse than silly, to be honest. There's other words I have in my head where that why are you against this?
Education scares a lot of people.
Yeah.
So ridiculous. Noelle, what about you?
Yeah, I'd like to talk about a Denver Post reporter, Elizabeth Hernandez, writing about the Western Airs in our Sunday edition. Y'all should read it. It's a great breakfast, brunch conversation piece because the Western Airs still do cowboys and Indians.
Yeah,
I don't know how I didn't realize that.
Yeah. And like one of the people quoted in the article is like, we just recently stopped calling the Indians savage. And there's like a big debate now within the Western Airs because of Elizabeth's reporting about should we change this? And if so, how do we change this? And I can guarantee there are other ways to honor Western history.
Yeah.
Without doing that.
Glorifying Western expansion, you know.
And there's like
it
some
feels very Buffalo Bill
in native indigenous kids in the Western Airs who are hurt by it.
Right.
So I'm like, well, why would we? And then there was a quote, well, the boys just learned so much from it. And then you've got like a little Native American girl who like is crying over it.
I should have. My cousin was in Westerners and she's a person of color, and I wonder if she was put in that role when she did. I didn't know this part of this program existed.
Yeah, shout out to Denver American Indian Commissioner co-chair Raven
Payman, former guest of the show.
Yeah, quoted in the article. But yeah, it's tough because it's like you get this is where racism starts. You know what I mean? This is where people don't value my like sovereignty or anything. It starts with these type of events.
And how do we start a new conversation with actual factual information if we're going to be introducing kids to this through this program?
Sure.
Can you describe what Westerners is? Because it's sort of like showmanship, horseback riding. I don't know exactly how to describe it well. I see it at the stock show every year.
Yeah, so it's a nonprofit based in Golden. They work out of the Jeffco area near the Jeffco Fairgrounds.
Yeah.
And they teach horsemanship. Overall, it sounds like a fantastic program for kids because you get to like ride horses, and you learn how to groom and take care of animals, and they do teach classes.
So it has a lot of great qualities
Yeah.
already. It's just maybe removing and rethinking this aspect.
Like there's one portion, like, do we need to reenact the Battle of Little Bighorn
goodness.
and shoot at each other and that sort of thing? Like there's a way to display horsemanship and Western
Yeah.
heritage maybe without that.
Yeah.
I think. Anyway, it's a really interesting story because the Westernaires are beloved. I mean, I've seen them at the stock show and in the parade at the
Totally.
Cheyenne Frontier Days, and they're neat to watch.
Yeah. But just this part of it.
Maybe we should. Yeah,
Maybe
they say they're
rethink
going to rethink it. They're having conversations now.
I mean, it was 4 generations ago when they were taking, trophies off little kids at Sand Creek, the ears, noses, to Denver Theater, which is right. It's a Rocky Mountain chocolate factory now, right there on 16th Street Mall. You know what I mean? It's like, it's not that many generations ago that was happening. And so, like, this type of stuff, you want this program to succeed and win. That the particular aspect where they're glorifying stuff that shouldn't be glorified is what you want to attack. It's like I want the Westernaires to be a part of Colorado history for the rest of time. I think it's important, but it's that particular part I don't like at all.
And also not just not glorifying it, but recontextualizing it and maybe using that space to tell the real story. As grim as it can be, I think that's also a crucial, with young people. That's like you said, you were saying with like education in school. When you first learn about these things, you carry that with you. And I don't know. I never knew this about Westernaires, and that's just very disappointing. But I'm also glad they're rethinking it.
Yeah.
for sure.
One boy interviewed in the article said he'd learned more about Native American history through the Westernaires than he
That's
had
what
in
I'm
school,
thinking
because they
about.
have taken him to Sand Creek National Historic Site and like talked to them about this stuff. So it's not all bad. It just seems like there's a way to do this that
Doesn't
isn't
glorify the really harmful nature while still telling the story
right
of who we are.
Which probably you're gonna need to incorporate some Native storytellers about this. People that matter in the community that are able to sort of talk to both people.
Talk about ourselves, not someone talk about us.
Right.
Yeah. My fail is the Evans School at 11th and Acoma is going from artist studios to a beer garden. I will just say I think, as far as I know, all of the artists were aware this was a temporary situation. So the Evans School is a 1904 elementary school in the middle of the Golden Triangle. It's a gorgeous building. It was boarded up for 40 years. And it was finally reopened and restored into this gorgeous space. And I think it was the pandemic really threw it into this weird space where they weren't sure what they were going to do with it. So as often happens, artists are placeholders for real estate. And artists were brought in at a lowered rate, thanks in part, a huge part, to Redline Gallery, which does incredible work in the community, not only creating space for artists to explore and create and have studios and shows, they also bring the community itself into a lot of their programming. And so I really want to give Luis at Redline credit for brokering this deal, however temporary, where artists got reduced rates on workshops and workspaces. And a lot of my friends had spaces in here. Mo Graham, who's a visual artist we've had on the show before, she lost her space. Again, the artist knew that it was temporary, but my frustration is, could we not see how valuable that was?
So much good work was done.
So much.
At the Evans School.
These amazing artists getting to be together also, where all ideas come from, in this beautiful space in the center of the city. You could go in, they did art shows, performances, art markets. It functioned so beautifully, but it didn't make the money. Or maybe without having some component that would make enough money. And artists did try to intercept this and try to raise the money to take it over, but they couldn't afford it. And I'm so tired of this happening to artists, where they just are held up in a moment when we need them to do something and not actually valued for their contributions to the city. This could have been an incredible space, a learning space, a community space, a vibrant space. And I'm not saying the beer garden's not going to be it, but a beer garden is not going to function in the same way. And I am just very disappointed. I'm just super disappointed.
Yeah, works that were at the Denver Art Museum, Museum of Contemporary Art, all over the city, and even in the building itself. I know from a native perspective, Stephen Yazzie and Daniel Seawalker both had studios there and did beautiful work all over the country. And yeah, it is. Everybody knew it was temporary. Everybody knew this was coming, and it's still frustrating because you're right. Because it's like, where else are we going to have this much talent in one building? And you can like talk to people. Like people will be around. Or you can see what they're working on and get inspired by some of your compatriots. And even if you don't, like it's still cool that all of it's happening out of one address. Like it's sad. I think the city lost some, and it's weird that a beer garden would demand the market would be able to like select this over like what was happening there already.
Yeah.
And also an art space where you can go look at that. It's not alcohol centric for the non-drinkers, and it always seems like everything always turns into alcohol centric. Centric.
And this was truly an all ages space in that
Mm-hmm.
capacity. And I think they could have built in, they could have built a bar into it. They could build a coffee shop into it, but without having to give up all this space that artists had that, like you said, was accessible to all types of people. And it's just such a central location. I know that was so crucial for a lot of these artists. I mean, it's big soaring windows. It's this beautiful space that's so inspiring. And I got to say beer gardens don't inspire me, but I'm hoping in the future that if something else like this comes along, we can value artists enough to figure out how to make the money work to keep them here. So, well, let's move on to wins. Noelle, what do you got?
Okay, this is a sweet little personal one. I was shopping at Trader Joe's with a friend. Between us, we had 4 grocery bags. And we got back to my friend's apartment, and we had 3 in the car. And we were like, we each thought the other one had loaded the 4th in the car, and we had not. I was like, well, the only option here is to go back to Trader Joe's and hope somebody brought it back inside. But I was like, on Colorado Boulevard, what are the odds of that? And we go in, and they're like, do you have your receipt? I'm like, yep. And they go, just a minute. And they come back with our grocery bags. And not only 1 bag, but 2, because the Trader Joe's employees had pulled the frozen foods out, put them in another bag, and put them in a freezer so they didn't spoil.
Oh my gosh.
If we came back. And I was like, I can't believe it. Somebody brought it. And they said, every day at the store, somebody leaves a grocery bag in the parking lot. And every day, another customer brings it back inside.
Really?
And I was like, wow. Like, people are honest, like, because nobody's going to notice if you put a random grocery bag in your car that you didn't pay for.
Yeah.
So, like, to do the right thing when no one's looking. And I was just, like, so thankful. And, like, I've been, like, kind of down on humanity, and you can probably imagine why. And I was like, this was just refreshing.
Yeah. I love that, too, because, like you said, when no one's watching.
Right.
Like, we're so used to performing, I think, especially for social media. And so when you can realize that your community is just doing the right thing.
Right.
It's like, it is a little like, I needed that too.
Yeah. And the groceries are expensive.
Right.
And so, like, to have a whole bag, because Trader Joe's packs that bag full.
Yeah, they do. And their frozen stuff is amazing.
Yeah, it makes that lobster ravioli taste a little bit better.
Yeah.
yeah.
And
Oh,
so
I
it was
love
just,
that.
the fellow customers did the right thing. The store did the right thing. It was nice.
Shout out
nice.
Trader Joe's customers and employees.
Yeah. Thank you. Big thanks.
I always feel like they're flirting with me,
They are same. There was like, nice jacket. I'm like, thank you.
Thank you. I am
Cute. What are you doing this weekend? I'm like, well.
And they like scan your bottled water and go, I love this flavor. It's my favorite. It's like,
You're like,
great
oh, good. I haven't
enthusiasm.
tried it yet. Thank you.
Yeah.
It's so funny. Joshua, what's your win?
My win is ADUs are now allowed citywide. Finally, after
Accessory dwelling
much.
units.
Yeah, it's I figure they're accessory dwelling units. It just allows homeowners to build another like housing on their property. The incentives there for the homeowners because you get the increased equity. You also get rental income and incentives there for the renters because more units means cheaper rent overall. And so hopefully, I mean, we've been in a housing crisis. I don't know if like a decade, but it's just one of the things where it just seems like this should have been I mean, you might have regulations on it, but it seems like if the homeowner is willing to sort of and they want to get the benefit from all that, they should be able to do that.
Cut some of that red tape.
100%. And it allows you to live in better neighborhoods as a renter.
Thank you.
Yeah, so
Thank you for saying that. I think sometimes people are like, oh, density, wah. And I'm like, You know how incredible it is if you as a homeowner can build something that you can create housing with and you get to profit off of instead of someone building that apartment complex that you don't want in the neighborhood because it's too tall. Well, what if you and 10 of your neighbors built an ADU? We're solving that problem for ourselves. And I know this is like, some folks are down on ADUs because they're like, yeah, right, who's going to do it? But at least the opportunity and the option is there.
Right.
My neighborhood is a pilot program for a city project where they, if you work with them, you could get a plan made out. Like they help you do it and they make it more affordable for folks to do it. And my neighbor did it. We can't do it, unfortunately, because our house is on the back of our lot and you can't build on the front. But our neighbor did it, and you wouldn't know it was there. I think that's the interesting part. Is a lot of times you don't know it's there, but my hope is that some sort of funding mechanism comes along where we can entice folks to do this themselves, like you said, to create the housing that we need.
And to make the neighborhoods better, but allow more people to experience the neighborhoods. You know what I mean? To not be priced out. Yeah, because there's a beautiful life, a beautiful Denver life for everybody that lives here. And we just got to, make that easier to get. Yeah.
Embrace it. Okay, well, I'll take us out. Pizza is coming back to the Benny Blanco space on 13th, everyone. Yes. So after 24 years, Benny Blanco's pulled out of that space. They do have one in Arvada, but I think as Jason Heller at Westward pointed out, you can't really stumble out of a bar and stumble all the way up to Arvada at 1 a.m. to get that pizza.
I live in Arvada, and yes, you can.
Oh, okay. Wait, okay. I spoke too soon. So I'm glad they still exist. But a new space is coming in. It's from the owner of Your Mom's House, which is the bar next door, and James Bedwell, and Chef John Mora, who actually had a pizza pop-up on Colfax a while back. And they are going to specialize in traditional thin crust New York style pizza. So if you were missing that, they're going to have that. Various vegan and gluten-free options. Coolest part to me, they are bringing back the inner club window. So if you are at the club and you want pizza, they're going to cut a window again, because there used to be one there a long time ago, and you can get pizza and then be on the dance floor.
It makes a lot of sense for them too.
Yeah. Genius. Although I do like hanging out outside on 13th eating pizza late at night.
Gives you a nice little break. You know what I mean?
Get a little bit. But if you can eat pizza and still be on the dance floor, genius.
So win-win, as they say.
Win-win. Pizza's coming back to 13th. It sounds like it's going to be a good deal. No opening date yet, but we'll keep watching. Well, Noel, Joshua, thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks for inviting me.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
That's all for today here on CityCast Denver. Our producers this week were Paul Caroli, Olivia Jewel Love, and Lizzie Goldsmith. Peyton Garcia and Adrian Gonzalez write our morning newsletter, Hey Denver. I'm Bree Davies, your host. Our music is by Los Mocochetes with additional mixing by Tyler Lindgren. If you haven't already, subscribe wherever you get your podcasts, follow us on Instagram at CityCast Denver, and tell Liberty Energy CEO Chris Wright about us next time you see him. You can sign up for our daily newsletter and learn more about us at denver.citycast.fm. See you next week. Today on CityCast Denver. Peyton. No, she was like shaking her head like, and
You want to do it?
Today on CityCast Denver. I'm going to kill you, Peyton.
No, I do. Honestly, I'm surprised you never noticed. I literally do it every week.
It's like right in my
And I've never
corner of my eye.
It's like muscle memory.